The core component behind scaling any info product or coaching business is copywriting. If your landing pages don't convert, if your emails don't get opened, if your VSL doesn't actually sell, then nothing else matters. Copy is the foundation of the entire funnel. It's what actually turns attention into revenue. And here's the problem. It's one of the most time-consuming parts of growth operating or scaling your own offer. Writing landing pages, crafting email sequences, dialing in your messaging, it takes hours, sometimes even days to get right. Now, the good news, AI can drastically speed this up. The bad news, most people have absolutely no idea how to use it properly. They either let it write generic rubbish that doesn't convert, or they rely on it without understanding the psychology behind what actually makes copy sell. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how to use AI to write high converting copy so you can scale your info product faster while still producing higher quality copy than could have been written manually. Let's dive in. Copy is the core of your entire funnel. It's the front end that the prospect actually looks at, and it's what converts people from just being a viewer into a potential buyer. Specifically, use it on your landing pages, in your webinar slide decks, in your email sequences. Basically, copy is used throughout your entire funnel in order to convert a viewer into a potential buyer. But so many people do it completely wrong, and they don't understand the psychology and power of actually writing high converting copy. Now, what most people do is they'll just go into ChatGPT and they'll plug in a prompt and they'll get spit out some just generic AI copy. And yeah, hey, maybe it's not the worst thing you've ever seen in your life, but it's definitely not going to be extremely high converting. In order to be able to write high converting copy, it needs to be able to tick off all of these different boxes. It needs to be able to pre-handle your most common objections, specifically niche objections that are likely to come up on your sales calls. It needs to be able to create urgency so that people are more likely to move forward straight away, or they feel the urge that now is the right time to move forward. It needs to specifically talk to your ICP, target their pain points, their bottlenecks, their most common objections, most common obstacles, and create desire for them to want to move forward and get the transformation you're offering. It specifically needs to communicate exactly what our services are so they understand how we can help them, why specifically they should work with us. So exhibiting our unique selling point. Why would they want to work with us over anyone else? Your copy needs to be able to convey this. It must create authority and create so much social proof that they look at you as the expert. And all of this must be done throughout of your entire copy, incorporating your personal wins, your success stories, and your client wins that also prove that you know exactly what you're talking about and you can help them get them results. And then also pre-answering any frequently asked questions that come up. All of this needs to be handled inside of your copy, and so many people overlook this when it comes to creating their funnels and when it comes to creating their landing pages, email sequences, webinar slide decks. Whatever it is, copy is used absolutely everywhere. So being able to write high converting copy is one of the most important factors when it comes to building your funnel. Now, what most people will do is they'll come into a ChatGPT completely fresh account, something like this, and they'll give it a prompt for an email they want to be written, or for a specific landing page headline, or whatever it is. They're going to come in, they're going to prompt it, and they're going to get spit out something that is maybe not as awful, but it's going to be pretty low quality. So for the sake of this video and to prove that this method actually is going to work, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be giving the exact same prompt to an untrained ChatGPT model. And then later in this video, after we set up the new AI model that we trained together, I'm going to be giving it the exact same prompt, and we're going to compare the difference in the quality of copy that's being written so that we can prove that this new model is going to be able to write you higher converting copy. So for the first prompt in the untrained ChatGPT model, specifically, I've given it a YouTube video from my client Sam, and I've asked it to create an email pushing people to watch this YouTube video. And the whole theme behind the email was like, hey, I spoke at this Dan Martell conference. He said I wasn't able to release the recording, but hey, I'm going to do it anyway. Create an email from Sam's perspective that pushes people to watch the YouTube video. So let's have a look at what the AI output is. Subject, Dan told me I can't release this video. Dan told me I can't release this video, not because it's controversial, because people paid thousands of dollars for private access to that room. This was my full talk at Dan Martell's conference. Closed door, high-level operators, no fluff, no surface-level tactics. Like, straight away I can tell, like, this isn't an awful neat email. Like, you could probably put it out there, but it's just not that high quality. It also doesn't sound anything like my clients at all. If you're running your own offer, you want the copy to sound exactly the way that you speak. And if you're a growth operator working with another creator, you want your copy to sound exactly like the client does. And this doesn't sound like him at all. Like if I go through the rest of this email, it looks extremely just like very clearly ChatGPT, AI written. It uses a lot of language he would never use, like no hype, no guru theatrics, just what's actually working. Like if you're serious about building something real, not just running on an agency hamster wheel, like this isn't an awful email, but it's just not extremely high converting because it doesn't really talk to our ICP, doesn't communicate what our services are, what our niche is, and it doesn't sound like the creator at all. So this is the first version that we've got of the email. You can go through, read the exact wording on this if you want to compare this email right now to the one that we're going to be looking at the end from the exact same prompt. But let's dive into how I would set up an AI model specifically to write much higher converting copy than this. Okay, so the first step you're going to want to do in order to be able to train up this AI model is get it as much context as possible to be able to work with. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to go through this questionnaire and record a voice note. If you're specifically the founder and you're running your own offer, record the voice note yourself. If you're a growth operator working with a client, get your client to fill out this voice note for you and go into as much detail as you possibly can. On the voice note here, on this thing here, it says to do 10 to 15 minutes. If you can do even longer than that, go into as much detail as possible. If you spend 30 minutes recording the voice note, that's even better. The longer you do, the more detail you go into, the more context that the AI is going to have, and the more accurate and the more high converting the copy is actually going to be. So the first set of questions you're going to want to answer in this voice note and go into as much detail about are specifically about the founder, about you, or about your client as a founder. Firstly, what is their personal story? Where did they start from? What bottlenecks did they have? What obstacles did they encounter? And where have they been able to get to? What transformation have they received? Have they been able to create for themselves? And how does this make them a credible source of information and authority? How can their journey and their story communicate the fact that they are a credible source? They are an authority, somebody that somebody should listen to in order to be able to take advice from. Specifically, go into in as much detail as possible, exactly like your complete origin story, every single detail that you possibly can think about when it comes to describing your story, where you got to where you are, so that the AI model has all of that context already. Then specifically talking about why did you start this business, okay? So if you're running like a fitness coaching offer, why specifically did you start fitness coaching? Maybe your whole life you've been working out and you've been training, but what made you want to specifically start coaching people on how to get into shape? Or if you're running like an e-com offer, why specifically are you now running an e-com offer alongside doing like your own business, okay? So you're specifically saying like, okay, why am I running an e-com coaching offer, but also why did I get into this business for myself, okay? So say if it was like fitness, why did you first start working out? And then also why did you start running your own coaching business? Say if it was e-com, why did you get into e-com for the first time? What appealed to you? Why have you been able to see such great success with this business model? And then why have you now launched an offer based off of teaching people how to get into e-com, for example? Go into as much detail about why you started your business, X, Y, Z. Then from there, we want to talk about what specifically gives you the right to sell this offer. What results do you have? What experience do you have? What insights do you have that give you the authority to be able to actually sell this and be able to teach other people? Like, what results have you actually been able to personally get that say, hey, like, I'm a credible source to be able to teach other people. I'm a credible source to be able to give out advice on this specific niche because I've been able to achieve this. I've gone through this journey. Like, why specifically do you have the right to even sell the offer? Then we want to go into some more like direct questions. What do you believe about the market, this market that 99% of people get wrong? And this is where we really get to like extract some of our unique views about you as a creator or about your client as a creator, specifically because you can see their unique perspective on their market. What is the way they look at the market that 99% of people look at it differently or they get wrong? And why does that make us different? What perspective does that give us when it comes to looking at this business as a whole? Then we want to go, what do you want to be known long-term for in this niche? And this is really just about extracting the core values from the creator, really understanding what they stand for, what their long-term goals are, so that the AI can represent that when it's writing copy on your behalf. So the first section, and you want to go in as much detail with this as possible, is specifically about the founder, their story, their unique perspectives, their values, everything they believe. And these are just some example questions. You can go into way more depth than just this, and the more depth you go into, the better and the more accurate your copy is going to be. Secondly, you're going to want to go into a point talking about your offer itself, okay? What exactly do you sell? What is the name of your products? What is the structure? How long is the transformation, pricing, format? Absolutely everything. We want to give the context to the AI to break down absolutely everything when it comes to your exact product. So not only do we want to give it name, structure, we want to talk about exactly every single sort of element that's included in the product. Do we have coaching modules? What support do they get? What group calls, one-to-one calls? Is there a community? What sort of access do they get? What unique selling points? You want to talk about exactly every single one of your core deliverables in this point so that the AI can refer to it. It can say like, hey, if it comes to like objection handling or pre-handling an objection, when it comes to writing copy, we can refer to specific deliverables that are inside of our coaching program or inside of our info products that can help to pre-handle that objection, or we can specifically refer to them at any time in the future because the AI has that context and it already understands your product inside and out. So outside of just the actual structure of the program, like the naming conventions, like duration, core deliverables, we want to talk about the mechanisms for success. And this is like the actual structure, what is behind getting success with your product. So for example, if you were running a fitness offer, your three main mechanisms for success might be diet, training, and mindset. So you want to map out, okay, what are the three most important pillars when it comes to getting success with this business and with this niche, and then go into as much detail for each of those pillars as possible. Okay, so why is diet one of the most important factors when it comes to getting in shape? How does that impact your journey? How does it impact the results that you're going to get? Same thing with training, mindset. If you were doing a drop shipping offer, it might be specifically about your products, what products you're selling, how you market it, and then how you actually fulfill your orders, okay? And then break down each of those individual pillars individually, how that affects the transformation, why it's the most important pillar, X, Y, Z. And then you want to talk about what is the main transformation somebody gets from this offer. Not just like, oh, they're going to learn how to make money online. They're like, no, the exact transformation we're offering is we help people specifically working in corporate 9-to-5s transition into running their own agency and running their own full-time business in this specific niche by using this method. And this is exactly the point that they're going to get to if they follow our exact steps. This is the transformation. This is the beginning point that our ideal customer is typically in, and this is where they will get to if they follow our transformation, X, Y, Z. And you want to once again go into as much possible detail. Specifically then, talking about what guarantees or risk reversals are included in the program. What do we have when it comes to selling the product that reduces the risk, the perceived risk in the buyer's mind, okay? I will work with you free until we get X, Y, Z, until we get X, Y, Z results. Or if you don't get this result in this time frame, then I'll give you your complete money back. Stuff that will just like, it helps to reduce the perceived risk of buying in the prospect's mind. You want to include all of this in the voice note as well. And then finally, what makes this not just another course, program, mentorships? Specifically go into even more of your unique selling points. What really stands out to this? What makes it different from anything else in the market? What are our unique selling points? Why specifically are we not just any other mentorship out there? So that's the second point. You want to go into as much detail about your offer itself as possible. Okay, now section 3. Section 3 is all about your ICP, your ideal client. Who would you ideally like to work with, and who is our program best designed specifically for? If you don't know this already, you might want to do some market research to understand who exactly your ICP is. But in this voice note, you're going to want to break down exactly who your ICP is. Firstly, like, what is their starting position? What is their rough, what are their main pain points they have in life right now? What are their bottlenecks, obstacles? Go into even their exact demographic, their age that specifically most people work with, gender, personality, their beliefs, if it's down to religion, stuff like this can be really important when it comes to describing your ICP. And you want to get as precise with this as possible and go into as much detail. So when the AI is writing the copy, it talks directly to this type of person, and it can write the highest converting copy in order to convert this person. Okay, where were they before they joined our program? What were they struggling with? What have they already tried? Exactly everything about their starting position. Where are they after the program? What changed specifically? What transformation were they able to get? How has that actually impacted their life on a day in, day out basis? And then we can go into more some specific niche objections about these type of people. I'll give you some examples for this in a minute, but why do people like hesitate to buy? What objections do we hear the most specifically about the niche? And then it might be like, okay, then obviously we want to talk about, okay, testimonials, results. People after they've worked with us and after they've got a result, what do they say about us? From our best case studies, from our best testimonials, what do people say they enjoyed about working with us specifically? What do they say they liked? And what was the overall like thoughts, results they were able to get? Go into as much detail about what specifically the clients liked about our service, what deliverables it was, whatever it was, break it down as much as possible. And then section 4, just a few other unrelated sort of questions. This kind of came up again. What are the most common objections you have? And this isn't objections like, oh, a partner objection, or I need to think about it, or like money. Just like avoid these general objections. These are specific niche objections. So I'll give you an example. Say for instance, one of my clients that I was working with, he filled out this form and he was in the AI niche. But one of his big selling points was that he teaches people how to close AI deals and close like partnerships for their agency by having a personal brand and by creating content. And one of his big objections was that so many people specifically didn't want to get in front of a camera. They didn't like that part of the program. They didn't want to be like seen, if that makes sense. They wanted to be behind the scene. And that was a big objection. People didn't want to get in front of a camera. So you want to go in and you want to specifically talk about any exact niche objections like that might come up. Then from there, what are some common misconceptions about what you teach? What specifically do most people think about this niche, or what do they think about this business model, or whatever it is, or about this type of investment that we need to break down? Like what limiting beliefs, what beliefs do we actually need to break in order for somebody to be able to buy? What misconceptions they probably have in their minds that we need to tell them, hey, that's like not actually the real scenario, in order for somebody to be moving forward. And then finally, break down who all of your biggest competitors are who are running similar offers. Go into the exact like offers they have, their names, and this is all just so that AI can like reference to them in the future, not actually like put it in your copy, but they understand like who our biggest competitors are, and it's just extra for the AI to actually have that context specifically on. So now you've either filled out this form as a founder, or you've got your client to fill it out if you're a growth operator working with a different creator. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to take that voice note, you're going to plug it into AI, and you're going to say, hey, transcribe this voice note, and then basically you just want to plug it into a document, something like this. And this is an example for my client Sam. I showed Sam in the example earlier in the ChatGPT when we were using the prompt. I'm going to be using Sam as an example for this entire case study, so you can see how we write AI copy specifically for Sam. Okay, and this is a transcript from the voice note that he filled out. And as you can see, he went into a lot of detail. This is specifically about his story. Like you can see, okay, at 19, he was the youngest finance intern in Canada. He built up to making over 200K a year, but he wasn't satisfied. He didn't want to work in a corporate for the rest of life, so he dropped out. He failed 5 businesses. And then when AI launched, when ChatGPT dropped, he started his first AI business. He was able to scale it. He got an exit on that business, and then he started his second business specifically in AI. And that builds a lot of credibility. Straight away, you can see, okay, he dropped out, he was in a corporate position. That's really relatable for any of our ICP that specifically are in corporate positions right now. He failed businesses, so you can see he struggled. And this is just all the context for AI. And then he's a credible source. He was able to scale a business. He got an exit on it. And now he's running another 7-figure AI company. And as you can really see, like it starts, like he goes into a lot more detail about his story, stuff like that. Specifically, but you can see how it really starts to build up the context for the AI into why we're a credible source. Why did we start this business model? As you can see, like he goes into a lot of depth because the gap between awareness and execution in AI is massive. Like as you can see, you can really go into details. What gives the right to sell this offer? Basically, like breaking down all of these points as much as possible, stuff that actually creates authority and basically gives the AI as much context to work with. Like so much detail about the offer itself, pricing points, everything that's included in the program, like absolutely everything that the AI would need in order to be able to reference and talk directly about our niche, about our products, and to our ICP. As you can see, like our ideal client, he's gone into a lot of depth. And then when I was talking about specific kind of like niche objections that come up, for instance, Sam here, one of his big objections was that most people think they need to be a lot more technical than they actually do in order to be able to get results. People think they need to be able to code, and in reality that isn't true. So basically that's a belief that we would need to overcome in the copy. We need to break it down to people that, hey, you don't actually need to write copy. You don't actually need to be able to code in order to be able to like get great success with an AI business. Same thing again, like they've been told to like pick a niche, but they have no framework for doing it. Like people have no idea what niche to go after, whether it be like law firms, like whatever it is, like specific niches when it comes to selling AI solutions that people would need to go after. That's a specific niche objection. And then like another objection is they think they need a team or agency set up before selling. So they think they actually need to have like a full network of developers, a full team ready to fulfill for these clients before they go out and actually start selling the product. So these are specific niche objections. These aren't just like, oh, partner objections, money objections, like I need to think about it kind of things. These are real in-depth specific niche objections that we can overcome in our copy. Then what we're going to want to do, once again, talking about like client results, testimonial stuff that creates obviously more authority for us, more common objections that I was talking about. And then what we're also going to want to do is, misconceptions. And basically, as you can see, everything is transcribed specifically into this document. And then this is what we're going to use for the next step in order to be able to start training up the AI model. Okay, so now we've got a lot of the context for the AI to work with. We need to go about specifically turning this context and turning this just like big block of information into something that an AI model can actually work with and it can understand in order to be able to write high converting copy. So specifically for what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to create individual JSON files. And what JSON files are there a specific set of codes and instructions that any large language model, so that means that any LLM or basically any AI model can understand, and you can plug it in and it will have all the exact context to be able to write high converting copy straight away. So specifically for this, what we're going to want to do is we're going to need 5 individual JSON files. The first one is product details, and this is specifically about the actual brand itself. Like I mentioned, the actual brand, the product, everything included. We're going to want one on the brand story, so like the founder's story, what results they got, where they started off from, everything they've been able to achieve. The same sort of questions that we were asking in the founder's voice note, but we're just turning it into JSON format. The other one that actually wasn't included in the founder's voice note, this one's a little bit more difficult, is specifically about the brand voice. And I'm going to dive into this one a little bit more in detail in a second because this one's a bit complicated, but this is how you get the copy to sound exactly like the creator and the way they speak. Then once again, we want to turn all of our testimonials into JSON file, into a JSON format and into a JSON file so that the AI can reference to all of our case studies when it comes to writing copy in the future. And then finally, a JSON file specifically for your ICP so it can understand who our ideal client is and so it can talk to them specifically when it comes to writing that copy. Okay, so for the product details specifically, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to use this exact prompt and you can give it straight to ChatGPT. But what you're going to want to do is, from the information that you got from the founder's voice note, you're going to want to quickly first, in step 1, fill out this questionnaire in as much detail as possible. You want to go in to as much possible detail as possible. This might be like 2 pages long specifically. I know this sounds like a lot of work right now, but as soon as you've set this up once, you don't need to worry about it ever. You might spend 2 to 3 hours setting up this AI system to be able to write copy, but after you've set it up, for the rest of time, you're going to be able to write the perfect copy every single time for your offer, and you're going to be able to write it in seconds. So there might be a bit of upfront work now, but once you actually get it done, you're going to write perfect copy in seconds every single time. So specifically what you're going to want to do is come to this questionnaire and fill it out in as much detail as possible. We want to firstly talk about the core features and benefits. Exactly what our product and service does, okay? For instance, like for each specific feature, we want to talk about the benefits, your customer experiences, talk about specific results as a based on having that feature, go into as much possible detail, break down every single feature inside of the program specifically. Like all of our deliverables, all of our specific transformation, the specific transformation and benefits people get from this product specifically, just make it as detailed as possible. You can take the information straight out of that voice note transcripts that we have. Then second point is unique selling points. We want to map out exactly what our unique selling points are specifically. Obviously individual deliverables that we have. Like for example, with Sam, this client that I'm talking about for this case study, one of Sam's unique selling points isn't even his deliverables. It's specifically about the niche that he's going after. Most people like running AI businesses, teaching people how to make money with an AI business, specifically say to go after like small local businesses. But Sam's like unique selling point is his niche itself. It's like, hey, he doesn't teach people to go after local businesses. He teaches people to go after mid-market firms. And there's almost no one else out on the market teaching that. And that's a very good unique selling point. So include like specific niche stuff like that, any like individual like deliverables that we have, stuff that makes our products stand out from our competitors, like the biggest wow factors, emotional hooks, stuff like that. Like even like individual pricing tiers. If you have different pricing tiers, you want to include all of this inside of this as well. Then specifically section number 3 is product language. And this is what we want to, like, you can tell AI to avoid certain terminology, and that's really important. So specifically with Sam, with our AI business and with his AI business, he doesn't want to be referred to as an agency. And like most people, when they hear about like AI businesses, they think about, oh, running an AI agency, but Sam does not teach AI agencies at all. That's like one of his unique selling points is he teaches a much more complex system than that. So he specifically tells this model, never refer to my niche as an AI agency. So you can specifically include stuff like that. Or if there's specific terminology you want to be included, you want to write all of this down and go into as much detail as possible. And then finally is objections and rebuttals. So we want to go in and we've got all of those most common objections that we extracted. We want to plug all of the most common objections into it. And then what you want to do is write the best possible counter to each of these objections as you can. So go into as much detail. How would you counter this objection if it came up? How specifically does our product help counter that objection, X, Y, Z? So fill out this questionnaire. And then what you're going to want to do is go into AI. You can literally do this in ChatGPT. Take this form and give it to ChatGPT, and then you're going to want to give it this prompt to package it into JSON. I just filled out this questionnaire about my product/service. I want you to analyze this and turn this into a JSON product details profile so any LLM can analyze it and know all the details about my product or service. Here's the questionnaire. And what it will do is it will take that questionnaire in as much detail as you filled it out as possible, and it will turn it into this, what will look like a JSON file specifically for product details. And you can see like individually this has like all of the exact details about the offer itself, like core pain points, like I can build automations, but nobody buys. My pitch sounds like every other AI agency, like specific transformation stuff that we go after and we teach. Like this goes into as much detail. And what this is just a set of code for the AI model specifically to be able to understand. And I'll show you how we're going to train that up, train the AI model up with this a little bit later in this video. Then we have the second JSON file, which is brand story. This one's really easy to do. Specifically, what you need to do from this is just go back into your founder's voice note, take out, and you can copy and paste the entire section, all the questions specifically related to the founder themselves, plug it into AI, and then give it this exact prompt. From the following content samples, analyze my brand story and create a detailed JSON offer owner brand story profile, focusing on all of these specific points that you want to go in, and you want the AI to be able to specifically extract core beliefs, character traits, like transformation arcs, like mission and core values, unique credibility and authority makers, like storytelling style, like all of this stuff like you want to be able to extract. You can read the prompt here and you can copy and paste this into your own AI ChatGPT prompt with your founder story in order to be able to get the JSON file for this. Create a comprehensive JSON profile that another LLM can use to perfectly capture and retell this brand story in different contexts. Sales copy, interviews, ads, emails, whatever it be. And then you'll get outputted another file specifically like this in JSON format, all about the brand's specific story, where they came from, transformation, XYZ, we've already discussed this. Next one we're going to want to do is brand voice. And brand voice gets a little bit more complicated because you can't extract this from a voice note. So you're going to want to train this up specifically in kind of a different way. And what you're going to want for this is you're going to want to go in and give AI as much to work with as possible. So I'll give you an example here. So specifically what I did for brand voice is I came into ChatGPT and I gave it as much possible content samples to be able to work with as possible. So for example, I've given it an example of some of the copy that Sam specifically has written in his post. Sam's kind of got like a very controversial, like kind of brand voice, if that makes sense. He's very direct. He can kind of be a bit standoffish sometimes and come across like very directly. And he kind of has some like controversial opinions as well. It might be like, hey, don't pay your Indian developers, or like, if you're a liberal, you can't work with me. And like, this isn't like anything bad. It's just stuff you want to be able to recapture in the brand voice. So when you're writing copy, it can sound exactly like the creator and you can communicate like them. So the first thing I did was I gave it some like screenshots and some examples of specific copy that Sam himself has written. Then from there, what I did was I gave it multiple YouTube videos specifically from the creator for it to be able to extract, review, listen to the way the creator talks. But more importantly than any of this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to write some perfect copy first. So you want to write some manual copy. Say there's some like emails you need to write. You might write like 1 or 2 emails, or you might write like a story sequence first of all, and you want to get it perfect, exactly how you think the creator would talk in order to be able to recapture the brand voice. Because the easiest way to be able to train the AI model specifically on the way the creator talks is to give it some example pieces of copy of how the creator talks so it can understand that in the writing. So for example, I gave it an example story sequence here to be able to work with. Like you can see like it really captures the brand voice. It's like, you're broke as fuck, and no, I'm not closing clients because nobody wants to buy your shitty AI products or tools. Harsh, yeah, but it's the truth. You can really see like this is like exactly how the creator talks, and it's really being able to extract it in everything that we're communicating. So you want to go through, give it as much detail as possible, give it like reels to go and review, YouTube videos, give it emails that you've specifically written that are perfect, give it like context into like basically anything that has been written by the creator beforehand, so you can see the exact way they talk. Like as you can see, I've given this a lot of specific information to be able to go with. And then at the start, you're going to want to come back and you're going to want to give it this prompt. It's very simple. I want you to create a comprehensive JSON file profile that another LLM can use to perfectly capture and retell this brand voice in different contexts: sales copy, interview, ads, emails. And what it will do is it will once again output you a JSON file specifically with all of these details, all of it in specific like instruction and code format. Like if you can see like common openers that's used in the like in the way that we speak. Like it specifically will show you like ways we typically open sentences, like here's the truth, or I'll be blunt, or most of you are stuck because. And then we like might end sentences with like, that's it, that's the game. If that offends you, good. That's like the way this creator talks, and we're recapturing all of it in this JSON file so another AI model can specifically understand it. Then from there, what we're going to want to do is testimonials. For the testimonials one, basically what you're going to want to do is capture as many testimonials as you possibly can. You can get them into basically any format as possible. If you have, for example, video testimonials, you can upload the video testimonials. If you have screenshots of results of like a win someone's posted in the groups, take those screenshots. If you have like a really good result, which you don't actually have in like video format, or you don't have in like a screenshot proof version, record a voice note specifically about that case study, go into as much detail, the transformation, where they started off from, everything they've been able to achieve with our service, where they got to, biggest results, X, Y, Z. And you want to upload all of those case studies, specifically your best case studies, as many as possible, and give it to AI. And what you want to say is give it this prompt specifically. I want you to create a comprehensive testimonials and client results master document that will be added to project knowledge for AI reference. I've uploaded client results XYZ. Like I want you to create a JSON file profile that can be used to recapture and retell these case studies and testimonials. And then you're going to want to tell it to extract all of this information specifically. What I'm going to do for the sake of this is just quickly scroll through this so you can see the type of things we're telling the AI to extract when it comes to these case studies, just so I don't read this all through. Main thing is going to be like their backgrounds, results they've been able to achieve, transformation, best quotes, like other client results, stuff like that. Like it's basically telling you exactly how the AI how to format it, like previous failure stories, like people identify the clients who had failures with other coaching programs, and then with our program they were able to get results, demographic, age, geographic information, where they're from, professional backgrounds, income levels, like go into as much detail of all of these case studies as possible. I'll quickly just like scroll through this again. You can copy this text and plug it into your AI for the prompt specifically about your case studies, upload as many to this as possible to your ChatGPT, and then what it's going to do is once again output you a JSON file with all of these case studies specifically to talk about. Like if you look at this, I've got like a case study for Marinko, started in construction, blue collar, no software background at all. And then he was able to get to like over 2,000 med spas on a wait list within 72 hours. He launched his own products called Skin Scanner AI, XYZ, or we've got Maverick, who had like a master's background, a master's degree. He had an academic background, but he never made any money online before. So specifically with our program, he had zero online revenue. Within weeks, he closed his first 6K deal. Then he closed the second deal within like a couple more weeks for another 12.5K. So he's gone from the position of never making money online before to doing $18,500 within like a few weeks, within less than a month. And all of this is captured in the JSON file specifically for the AI to be able to reference to in the future. Then once again, final most important one is your ICP outline. This is really, really important so that the AI can specifically understand who you're talking to. So once again, you can come back into your founder's voice note, go into your section that specifically talks about who your ideal client is, take all of this information, upload it into the AI, and then give it this specific prompt to be able to work with. Specifically, you're an expert behavioral analyst specializing in understanding high-value prospects. I need you to create a comprehensive psychological profile of your ICP, analyze their core demographics, how they see themselves versus reality, their private online behavior and search patterns when no one's looking, the communities and discussions they're drawn to repeatedly, late night thoughts, internal struggles, their deepest anxieties, like they've hit them with go into as much detail as possible. Once again, you can read, I'll zoom in, you can go through, read this, pause it, and look at the exact points that I'm extracting when it comes to AI. So for this, what you're going to want to do is take the founder's voice note with the details of your ICP, and then also upload as many sales call recordings as you possibly can, as many sales call recordings as you can possibly find. Upload it into AI, and it's going to start extracting all the information specifically about your ICP. And then once again, plug this in with this deep research mode. Do this first of all, then plug that information back into AI and turn it into a JSON. Oh, my thing's lagging. Plug it into a JSON file specifically like this, and you're going to get a JSON file which outputs and turns an entire document into what exactly your ICP is. Okay, now we have absolutely everything in order to be able to train up the AI model. And this is really easy actually. So what you're going to want to do specifically for training an AI model, I say to use Claude. Claude is the best when it comes to writing copy specifically. You can create the prompts in order to create the JSON files. You can do that in ChatGPT, you can do that wherever. But specifically for creating and writing copy, you're going to want to train up a Claude model. So what you're going to want to do is come back into this document that you've been building with all your different JSON files. You're going to want to copy and paste individually each of these JSON files that you have into Claude, and what you're going to want to tell it to do is you're going to want to tell it to reference to these documents, to remember them, and when creating any copy, follow the instructions written in the code to a T. So when it comes to writing any copy in the future, it will understand exactly the brand voice that we're trying to represent and we're trying to recreate. It will understand the brand story, so it can reference to it, it can talk about it. It will know our exact ICP, so it can specifically talk to all of our clients. And then it will know testimonials already. It will understand the product, and it will know absolutely everything to write the highest converting copy. So right now I'm back into Claude, and I've just given Claude the exact same prompts that I gave ChatGPT at the very beginning in order to be able to test out whether this writes better or worse copy. So if you remember at the very beginning of this video, we had specifically this email over here, and it wasn't a bad piece of copy. Actually, it wasn't that bad at all. But it just wasn't that good either. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great. It had a lot of very generic AI tendencies and traits you can see come up. It didn't sound like the creator. It didn't really necessarily talk to our ICP, and it didn't really know the details that well of specifically our specific product. It had some context from the YouTube video that I gave it, and it was able to extract some information from that. But it just really wasn't that trained up. It wasn't detailed. It was using lots of words like no hype, no guru theatrics, just what's actually working, stuff the creator would never talk like that, if that makes sense. So I've come back into my Claude that's now been fully trained up, and I've specifically given it the exact same prompts. And now if we have a look at what this has been outputted, we can see and we can compare in the quality of email. So subject line, Dan told me not to send this. I'd probably add the words Martel in here, the last name Martel, so it stands out more with the copy. So you still will need to manually adjust some of the stuff that it outputs. So I'd say Dan Martel told me not to send this because people know Dan Martel's name. But then the actual body itself, I spoke at Dan Martel's private conference in Dubai last month. Ticket holders paid thousands to be in that room. Dan told me not to release the recording publicly, said it devalues the exclusivity, said people paid for private access. He's not wrong, but I'm releasing it anyway. Because the operators who need to hear this aren't the ones dropping 10K on conference tickets. They're the ones grinding in silence, stuck chasing $500 AI chatbot deals, watching YouTube tutorials and wondering why nothing's working. Here's what I broke down in the talk. Why the AI agency model is dead and what's replacing it, how to target mid-market companies instead of racing to the bottom with small businesses, the exact offer frameworks I use to close 10 to 50K partnerships, how I built and exited Simply Scale, then scale Next Call Agent using the same playbook. This isn't theory, this is the exact strategy I'm running right now. Dan's probably going to be pissed when he sees this email, but you're on this list for a reason, so you get access to what actually works, not what's safe to share. Watch the video here, don't sleep on it, I might take it down. And straight away, you can tell this email is so much better. One, it's just way more engaging, it just writes a lot smoother, it's a lot easier to understand, but it specifically talks about so much stuff which is related to us. So like right away, I'm breaking down, like if we go to the section which is, here's what I broke down in the talk. Why the AI agency model is dead and what's replacing it. So if you look at it, that's like a real big selling point for us. I mentioned this earlier in the video, like our big niche selling point is that you shouldn't run an AI agency anymore. Like they're way saturated, like it's dead. You should be doing this instead. Specific points that we talk about in our product, how to target mid-market companies instead of racing to the bottom with small businesses. That's a really big like factor when it comes to our niche and selling point. Like everyone says to go after small businesses, but you shouldn't be doing that. You should be going for bigger companies with bigger budgets, XYZ. The exact offer frameworks I use, and it references to the exact companies that my client Sam has like scaled in the past. Like he built Simply Scale, and then he scaled Next Call Agent. So if you specifically look at this, it has all of the context to be able to reference to this when it comes to writing the copy. I just gave this all to AI, and it's be able to write extremely high converting copy straight away. And then like if you just look at it, everything about this is so much better. It's written it in Sam's brand voice as well. You can really see the way that it's captured his brand voice. It's very direct. Dan told me not to release the recording publicly, said it devalues the exclusivity, said people paid for private access. He's not wrong, but I'm releasing it anyway. Like that's really like captured the way that Sam talks, the way my client talks, and you can see instantly how this writes higher converting copy. And I just gave this, and now from whenever I continue using this to write copy, I can plug it into this model and it's gonna spit out almost perfect copy every single time. There might be like a few tweaks you need to make here and there to make sure that it aligns with what you're actually trying to say. But now maybe you spent like a couple hours training up this AI model, but as soon as it's done, for the rest of time with this offer, you're going to be able to write perfect copy instantly. That's going to specifically be way higher converting than anything you could write manually. If you try to write this manually, I guarantee you, unless you've spent like months or years specifically learning how to write copy, you're not going to be able to write anything higher quality or higher converting than this itself. So that was a full breakdown into exactly how you can use AI to write copy for your info products or coaching businesses, so you can write it to a much higher level and so you can write higher converting copy every single time. Specifically, if you want to work with me directly, if you're running your own coaching business and you want my help in order to be able to scale your own offer, check the links in the description, book a call with me or message me on Instagram. If you're a growth operator, you're stuck below 20K a month, you want access to all of my systems, my SOPs, a guaranteed creator, and access to direct one-to-one support, then apply to work with me below. Appreciate it, hope you got value from this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.